My brother's fiancée asked us to pay $3,000 and sign an NDA to attend their wedding. So I refused, then watched their dream day fall apart. I'm a 25-year-old guy named Michael, and a few weeks ago, I got the save the date card in the mail for my brother Jake's wedding. He's 28, and I won't lie, I was happy for him. We've always been close. At least we were until he started dating Emily. I tried to get along with her, but something about her always felt off. She has this way of talking over people, making decisions for Jake, and generally acting like she's in charge of everything. I figured it was just her personality, but over time, it started to affect our family. Jake and I used to hang out all the time, but once he got serious with Emily, he became harder to reach. It was like she had to say when and how he could see people. Even when we did meet up, she was either there or texting him constantly. My parents noticed it too, but they chalked it up to relationship stuff. So when I heard they were engaged, I was happy for him, but I also had a sinking feeling that things were only going to get worse. Then the actual wedding invitation came, and that's when everything started going off the rails. First, it wasn't just an invitation, it was basically a contract. The wedding was going to be a destination event at a luxury resort in Italy. A beautiful place, sure, but the catch was that every guest had to pay their own way. And it wasn't just flights and hotels. They had a whole wedding experience package that cost over $3,000 per person. It included things like a welcome dinner, a spa day with the bridal party, mandatory for bridesmaids, a yacht excursion, and a private farewell brunch. And of course, attendance at all these events was required. I assumed it was a suggestion, but the wording was clear. If you didn't pay for the full experience, you weren't invited to the ceremony. I thought my parents would be just as shocked as I was, but they were surprisingly calm about it. My mom said it was a lot, but it was Jake's big day, and they wanted to be supportive. My dad just muttered something about how weddings are getting ridiculous these days, but even they weren't totally against it. Extended family, though different story. As soon as the invitations started going out, our family group chat blew up. Some cousins and aunts were already saying they wouldn't go because of the cost. Then I saw the part that made my jaw drop. The NDA buried in the invitation. It was a section that said all guests had to sign a non-disclosure agreement to attend. Apparently, Emily had gotten the idea from another influencer's wedding, a high-profile event where guests weren't allowed to post anything that wasn't pre-approved. She had convinced herself that their wedding needed the same level of exclusivity, even though no one attending was actually famous. The NDA specifically said guests weren't allowed to post anything online, discuss any issues about the wedding, or mention the cost at all. Violating the NDA, it warned, could result in legal action. At first, I thought this was a joke, but nope, it was real. Jake confirmed it when I asked him. He said it was just a precaution and that Emily was really serious about protecting her brand. I asked if he was okay with this, and he just shrugged, saying it was what Emily wanted. The more I read the invite, the worse it got. Bridesmaids had to wear custom dresses from a specific designer, which they had to buy themselves, and the groomsmen had their own strict dress code. The itinerary was packed with pre-wedding events, and none of them were optional. The family group chat turned into a war zone. Some of my cousins flat out refused to go. My uncle called it the most entitled thing he'd ever seen. A few relatives were trying to keep the peace, but it was obvious that a lot of people were backing out. My parents weren't happy about the drama, but they still wanted to go. My mom asked me to just sign the NDA and go for Jake's sake, but I couldn't get past how ridiculous it all was. It wasn't just about the money, it was the control. The way Emily was dictating every detail, even what people could say about the wedding. It was too much. I sat with it for a few days, debating whether to go, but in the end, I decided I couldn't do it. I called Jake and told him I wasn't coming. He didn't take it well. At first, he just sounded disappointed, then he asked if I could at least reconsider. I told him I loved him, but I wasn't comfortable with everything they were asking. He got quiet for a long time before finally saying, "Okay, if that's how you feel," but even as he said it, I could tell it wasn't over. He wasn't arguing yet, but I knew my brother, and I could hear the hesitation in his voice. An hour later, I got a text from Emily. It was long, passive-aggressive, and full of guilt-tripping. She said she was heartbroken that I was making this about myself instead of supporting my brother. She said it wasn't that hard to just sign a piece of paper and show up. Then she ended it with, "I hope one day you understand what it means to truly support family."